Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to Beautifully Unfiltered Podcast. I'm so grateful you're here today. Let me ask you something. How many times have you answered, "I'm fine," when you really weren't? Someone asks how you're doing. You smile. You nod. You give the same answer you've given 100 times before. "I'm okay. I'm good. I'm just tired." And the conversation moves on. But inside, you know the truth is much more complicated. Maybe you've been carrying worries you haven't shared with anyone. Maybe you've been feeling overwhelmed for weeks. Maybe you're trying your best to keep everything together while quietly wondering how much longer you can keep pretending. If you've ever felt that way, today's conversation is for you. We're going to talk about the hidden cost of always saying, "I'm fine." The funny thing is, most people don't start hiding their feelings because they want to lie. They do it because they don't want to make anyone uncomfortable. Think about how often we hear questions like, "How are you?" Most of the time, people expect a quick answer, not a real one. Imagine standing in the grocery store when the cashier smiles and asks how your day is going. You probably won't tell them you're worried about paying the bills. You won't explain that you've been struggling to sleep. You won't say you've been questioning your career or feeling lonely. You'll probably smile and say, "I'm fine." And that's understandable. Not every moment is the right place for a deep conversation. The problem begins when "I'm fine" becomes our answer to everyone, even the people who genuinely care about us. Somewhere along the way, many of us learned that showing emotion makes us look weak. Maybe we grew up hearing things like, "Stop crying," "Be strong," "Don't make a big deal out of it." Other people have it worse. Little by little, we begin believing that our feelings are something to hide instead of something to understand. So we become experts at pretending. We go to work. We finish our responsibilities. We laugh at jokes. We reply to messages. We post photos that make everything look normal. Meanwhile, there's a completely different conversation happening inside our minds, one that no one else can hear. Sometimes the hardest part isn't the problem itself. It's feeling like you're carrying it alone. Have you ever walked into a room full of people and still felt isolated? It's a strange feeling. You're surrounded by voices, by laughter, by conversations. Yet somehow you feel invisible. Not because people don't care, but because no one knows what you're actually going through. And how could they? You've become so good at hiding it. Many people wear invisible masks, not the kind that cover your face, the kind that cover your emotions. One mask says, "I have everything under control." Another says, "I don't need anyone." Another quietly whispers, "If people knew the real me, they might leave." That last one is more common than we realize. Sometimes we stay silent because we're afraid of becoming a burden. We think, "They already have enough problems. I don't want to ruin their day. I'll deal with it myself." Those thoughts sound responsible, even thoughtful. But over time, they can become lonely, because carrying everything by yourself eventually becomes exhausting. Imagine trying to carry a heavy backpack every single day. At first, you adjust. You tell yourself it's manageable. You keep walking. But with every mile, it feels heavier. Eventually, even standing still becomes difficult. Emotional weight works the same way. The longer we carry it without setting it down, the more it affects every part of our lives. It shows up in unexpected ways. You become impatient over small things. You lose interest in activities you used to enjoy. Simple decisions suddenly feel overwhelming. You feel physically tired even after sleeping. You start telling yourself, "I'm just stressed. It's just been a busy week." But sometimes it's more than that. Sometimes your heart has been asking for attention while your mind keeps telling it to wait. Here's something I've learned. Ignoring emotions doesn't make them disappear. It only teaches them to speak in different ways. Sometimes through anxiety, sometimes through irritability, sometimes through constant exhaustion, sometimes through feeling disconnected from the people around us. Our emotions don't disappear because we refuse to acknowledge them. They simply find another way to be heard. That's why pretending to be okay can become so expensive. Not financially, emotionally. The cost isn't paid all at once. It's paid little by little, conversation by conversation, day by day, until one morning you wake up wondering why you feel so far away from yourself. The truth is, you've spent so much energy convincing everyone else that you're okay, that you've forgotten to ask yourself whether you really are. Now, I want to be clear about something. Being private is not the same as pretending. Not everyone needs to know every detail of your life. In fact, protecting certain parts of yourself can be healthy. The difference is whether you're choosing silence or whether fear is choosing it for you. There are moments when we genuinely need time to process things on our own. That's normal. But if weeks become months and months become years, without allowing anyone to truly know what you're carrying, the distance between you and other people quietly grows. Not because they stopped caring, but because they were never given the chance to understand. One of the biggest myths many of us believe is that asking for help means we've failed. Where did we learn that? We don't think twice about asking for directions when we're lost. We don't feel ashamed asking a teacher to explain something we don't understand. We don't apologize for taking medicine when we're sick. Yet when it comes to emotional struggles, many of us suddenly believe we have to figure everything out alone. Why? Maybe because we've convinced ourselves that strength means handling everything without anyone else's support. But real strength has never been about carrying impossible weight by yourself. Sometimes strength sounds like, "I'm having a hard time. I don't know what to do. Can we talk?" Those aren't signs of weakness. They're signs of trust. Think about the people who matter most in your life. If someone you love was quietly struggling, would you want them to hide it from you? Probably not. You'd want the chance to listen, to comfort them, to remind them they don't have to face everything alone. Now ask yourself this: why do you believe the people who care about you would feel differently about you? Sometimes we're much kinder to everyone else than we are to ourselves. We offer compassion so freely, but when it's our turn to receive it, we hesitate. We worry we'll be judged, rejected, misunderstood. The truth is, not everyone will know how to respond. Some people may change the subject because they feel uncomfortable. Others may offer advice when all you needed was someone to listen. That can be disappointing, but it doesn't mean your feelings were wrong. It simply means not everyone has learned how to sit with another person's pain. That's why choosing the right people matters. You don't have to tell your story to everyone. You only need a few safe people. People who don't rush to fix you. People who don't compare your experience to someone else's. People who aren't waiting for their turn to speak. They simply stay. Sometimes the greatest gift another person can give us isn't the perfect answer. It's their presence. Just knowing someone is willing to sit beside you without trying to solve everything can make the burden feel lighter. And if you're listening today and thinking, "I don't have anyone like that," don't lose hope. Meaningful connections often begin with one honest conversation, one small step, one moment of saying something more truthful than, "I'm fine." Maybe it's telling a trusted friend, "It's been a difficult week." Maybe it's calling a family member you've been meaning to talk to. Maybe it's reaching out to someone you've quietly missed. You don't have to share your entire story all at once. Sometimes healing begins with a single honest sentence. The goal isn't to tell everyone everything. The goal is to stop pretending that you're carrying nothing when your heart is asking for a place to rest. There's another reason we keep saying we're okay. Sometimes we're afraid that if we stop pretending, everything we've been holding back will come rushing out. The tears, the frustration, the disappointment, the questions we've been avoiding. That can feel overwhelming. But emotions aren't enemies, they're signals. Just like physical pain tells us something needs attention, our emotional struggles are trying to tell us something too. Ignoring the signal doesn't solve the problem. Listening to it gives us a chance to understand ourselves with greater honesty. And perhaps that's where real courage begins. Not in pretending that nothing hurts, but in admitting that some things do, and believing that you don't have to carry them forever. As we come to the end of today's conversation, I'd like to leave you with one simple thought. The words, "I'm fine," aren't the problem. Sometimes they really are true. The problem begins when they become a place to hide instead of a place to stand. There are people who have spent so long pretending that they no longer know how to answer honestly. When someone asks how they're doing, the reply comes automatically, "I'm okay," even when they're not. If that's been your habit, don't be hard on yourself. Many of us learned to survive that way. We believed staying quiet would protect us, and maybe, for a season, it did. But surviving and living are not the same thing. You deserve relationships where you don't have to perform happiness every minute of the day. You deserve conversations where you can admit you're having a difficult week without feeling embarrassed. You deserve the freedom to say, "I'm trying. I'm overwhelmed. I don't have everything figured out." Those words don't make you less capable. They make you human. And being human means there will be days when your smile comes easily and days when it doesn't. Neither one defines your worth. I also want to say something to those who are usually the listeners, the ones everyone turns to for advice, the dependable friend, the responsible sibling, the person who always checks on everyone else. Who checks on you? Sometimes the people who look the strongest are carrying the heaviest load, not because they want to, but because they've become so used to putting everyone else first that they've forgotten they need care too. If that's you, I hope you'll remember this. You don't have to earn the right to be supported. You don't have to wait until you're completely exhausted before allowing someone to help. You matter just as much as the people you've been taking care of. And if someone you love tells you they're struggling, try not to rush the conversation. You don't always need the perfect advice. You don't have to solve every problem. Often, the kindest response is simply saying, "I'm here. Thank you for telling me. We'll get through this one step at a time." Sometimes those few words mean more than any solution. Before we say goodbye today, I'd like to leave you with a small invitation. The next time someone you trust asks how you're doing, pause for a moment before answering. If the truth is, "I'm tired," say it. If the truth is, "I've been carrying a lot lately," say that instead. You don't have to tell the whole story. You don't have to explain every detail. Just allow yourself to be a little more honest than yesterday. Little by little, Honesty creates connection. And connection reminds us that we were never meant to carry everything by ourselves. Life becomes lighter when we stop pretending we're made of stone, because we're not. We're people. We feel. We struggle. We laugh. We cry. We heal. And we continue. If this episode spoke to your heart, I hope you'll share it with someone who may need this reminder. And if you'd like to continue having honest conversations about healing, growth, and becoming the person you're meant to be, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Beautifully Unfiltered Podcast. And if there's a topic you'd like me to talk about in a future episode, feel free to leave it in the comments below. Sometimes the strongest thing you'll ever say isn't, "I'm fine." It's, "I could use someone to listen." Be gentle with yourself. Be honest with the people who truly care about you. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode. This is Maya from Beautifully Unfiltered Podcast.